guys, my name is Emma from Journey to the Organised Home, and today I am so excited to be sharing with you some of the best tips and tricks that you can use to make sure that you have a really successful garage sale. So I'm going to be going through some of the essentials that you have to make sure are on your garage sale checklist, and I'm also going to be sharing with you some of the tips and tricks that I learned along the way while getting prepared for this sale. I'm going to be filming this video in two parts. So part one is going to be how to prepare for a garage sale, and part two is going to be things that you can do on the day to make sure that you have a real cracker of a day and make a little bit of extra money. And I'll be sure to let you know just how successful my garage sale was after putting all of these tips and tricks to use. So this first tip is probably one of the most obvious, but it's also the most important, I think. So tip number one is prepare in advance for your garage sale. And I'm not talking just a couple of days. Ideally, you want to be preparing for this for a few weeks. I was preparing for this garage sale for about 5 weeks, but I highly suggest giving yourself plenty of time so that you don't feel rushed. You really have the time to go through things. You can get yourself organized and really make sure that you're set up to have the best garage sale that you can. Giving yourself plenty of time will allow you to do things like clean up your space, which is something else that I really suggest doing. Nobody wants to come into a dank, dirty carport or garage to buy your junk. If anything, they want to be looking at a nice, clean environment. It's going to make it look like your items are nice and clean, make it look like your items are of a higher quality. And so if you can just put that little bit of extra time into preparing for your garage sale, I promise you it'll definitely pay off. So tip number two is go through all of your shit. All of it. Every cupboard, every wardrobe, every drawer, every bathroom, every shed, every box, anything that you have that has junk in it, go through it and you'll definitely find stuff that you can sell at your garage sale. If you're moving house, this is the perfect opportunity to really assess, have I used this in this house? Am I likely to use it in my next house? Did I have it in this last house that I lived in? If the answer is yes, you have had it in your last house and you haven't used it in your current house, chances are you're probably not going to be using it in your next house. So really assess these items and consider whether or not they're worth holding on to, or whether or not you can give them a new life by selling them on to somebody else who might really get some enjoyment out of it. When you're going through all of your items as well, make sure that you give them a quick clean, or make sure that they are clean. People are much more likely to buy items that look clean rather than items that kind of look a little bit gross or a little bit dirty. Just little things like this can really improve your chances of selling items at a garage sale. If you do have larger items that you want to sell for a little bit higher price, consider selling these on Marketplace or maybe not at your garage sale. People who are coming to garage sales are generally looking for a real bargain. If you're struggling to find enough items around your house to really make it feel worth having a garage sale, you can always consider contacting friends or family and seeing if a few of you want to get together and sell your items together and make it a really big event. So my third tip for preparing for your garage sale is going to be, rather than kind of gathering your items like one by one and pricing them and putting them aside, I'd highly suggest getting a box and then just collecting items as you go throughout your house or as you're decluttering, and just adding all of your items into this one box. That way you can easily come to the box later when it's full and just go ahead and stick your labels on and price all of your items at once. Then you can put all of the items back into the box, and then you can store that box away ready for your garage sale. Probably ideally you would store this in a garage or somewhere out of the way. We don't really have that luxury. I've put all of my stuff in our spare bathroom. We're lucky in the sense that we have a spare bathroom that we don't really use, but whatever works for you. The thing is, it's all gonna get gone at the end of the day. So tip number 4 is gonna be, get yourself a couple of different sized pricing labels. So I got it 3 different sizes. I got little small round ones, I got slightly larger rectangular sized ones, and then I got even bigger rectangular sized ones. So I found that the large ones were really helpful for providing prices and an explanation on any items which maybe needed a bit of explanation, or just items in which people perhaps weren't sure of exactly what they were. I could just write a little explanation as to what it was, and then they could easily see what it is without having to ask. And the rectangular labels that I got, these small rectangular labels, I found really helpful for kind of getting around thinner items or items where it would be hard to get a sticker to stick onto. And something that I found really, really useful for this was getting a few elastic bands, and then you can just fold the label over the elastic band and make yourself a little double-sided label. I thought this was a really good tip, and I used it for a lot of the items that I ended up preparing for the day. So that brings me to my next tip. Tip number 5, which would be to get yourself a bag of assorted elastic bands. Now this sounds kind of dumb, but I found these elastic bands so helpful in getting ready for the garage sale. You can tie items together with the band that are kind of awkwardly shaped, or you can tie little cords up together so it's not all just flinging around everywhere. It was really something that I found surprisingly useful. And if you get a bag of assorted elastic bands specifically, they come in all different thicknesses and sizes, so you can really tailor them to do whatever you need them to do. So I tied a couple of elastic bands together, and then I secured them around some cushions to hold them together, and I just thought this was so much better than using sticky tape or string or really anything else. And I guarantee these elastic bands are things that you will use after your garage sale as well. They're so perfect just for tying up little cords, wrapping up, chip bags, whatever it is. I swear you will find these elastic bands super useful. So tip number 6 for preparing for your garage sale is going to be price everything. And when I say everything, I mean literally everything. People don't want to be asking you, how much is this? It's just something people don't like to ask. Don't just throw all your crap on the table and think, oh, people will just ask me how much it's going to cost and I can kind of just make it up on the spot. No. Price everything, and consider the prices that you're putting on your items. I, for instance, have priced my items slightly higher than others might, but that's because I'm expecting people to haggle with me. So I'm expecting people to knock $1 or $2 off the price. So I've just marked everything a tiny bit more expensive than other people might if they're really just looking to get rid of stuff at their garage sale. But it totally depends on your approach, your strategy, and what exactly you're trying to get out of your garage sale. Something else I thought of when considering pricing items for my garage sale, because I am pricing my items just a little bit higher, I want to let people know that I'm absolutely open to offers and I'm open to haggling. So I'm going to make a sign for my garage sale that says, prices marked, but offers welcome. That was just the phrase that I came up with that kind of seemed to sound the best to me. So prices marked, offers welcome. So hopefully that way people will know that I have priced everything, but I am open to offers and I am willing to haggle a little bit with them on the price. So tip number 7, my tip would be get some grocery bags so that you've got some little carry bags for people to walk away with all of their lovely wares from your store. So I've been collecting, I'm sure many of you have as well, but I seem to have been collecting grocery bags all my life in preparation for this event. So I have probably 50 grocery bags all folded up, ready to go. And I just wanted to make sure they were all nice and neat, ready to go for the garage sale, so I'm not just like pulling out massive bags when people come around. It only took me a couple of minutes, but you don't have to do this. The point of this is have bags so that if you have people who are buying a couple of things, they can walk away with a bag of crap rather than just a handful of crap like walking around down your street. If you're feeling extra generous, you can even consider having like bubble wrap or, paper for your more delicate items. But I would say the most important thing would just be to have some bags and make sure you've got enough. Most people don't have a problem with having enough bags. So tip number 8 is going to be tables. You need to get yourself enough tables for your garage sale. And I know this sounds pretty obvious. You want to have enough tables to basically put all of your items on. People are so much more likely to buy your items if they're on a table rather than in a little basket or something where they have to like rummage through all of this crap to try and like find something. So try to minimize your basket rummaging areas and have everything laid out nicely on a table if you can. If you're using trestle tables, or really if you're using any table, try to put something nice over it like a tablecloth or a white sheet or anything. It'll just make your items look a little bit more expensive. It'll make them look higher quality. And I can guarantee you will sell way more if your items are on tables rather than just dumped in a basket or if they're like spread out on the floor on a tarp. If you don't have trestle tables or you don't have access to tables, these are generally kind of the things that lots of people will have just lying around in their garage that they only use once or twice a year. So reach out to friends and family and just ask them if they have any tables. I didn't have any tables and I asked one of my friends, thank you Mel, to lend me some tables, and she came over with 5 trestle tables that her family used for Christmas. So perfect for me, and I'm really excited to show you on the day what these tables look like all set up. Tip number 9 is going to be change box. Change bum bag. You want something to carry around your change in on the day. So deciding whether or not to use a bum bag or a change box really depends on the type of garage sale that you're going to be having. If you're running the garage sale more or less yourself, like I am going to be, I would suggest getting a bum bag. That way you can just carry everything around with you. You can mosey around, talk to customers. You can keep an eye on everything and always have your little bum bag with you so it's nice and secure. However, if you are having a garage sale with a couple of other people, or you have people that are helping you, it obviously might be a little bit easier if you have a change box. That way everybody can have access to it. It's all in one spot. And if you've got a couple of people with you, then everybody can keep an eye on the change box. So just consider these 2 different kind of methods when you're considering how you're going to be carrying and storing your change on the day of your garage sale. Now this conveniently also brings me to the next tip, which is tip number 10, and that is to make sure you have enough change on the day. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I just need to get a little bit of change. Then my friend reminded me, you're gonna have some dickhead at your garage sale that wants to buy a $1 item with a $50 note. So make sure that you have enough change for a few people to do that. As you obviously go throughout the day, you'll start to increase the amount of change that you have, but you really want to start off assuming that you're going to have a few people come in wanting to buy a couple of bucks worth of stuff with a $50 note. So really stack up on the change. You can obviously get rid of it after the garage sale, convert it back into notes, but make sure you've got enough coins, small notes, larger notes as well, because you never know who's going to be rocking up at your garage sale, what they're going to be buying and what they're going to be coming with. Tip number 11 is going to be get yourself a cheap clothes rack. Pick one up from Gumtree, Marketplace, or if you can get one for free off your local Buy Nothing group. This will definitely help you sell your clothes. If you put your clothes up on the rack, up on coat hangers, people are so much more likely to buy them than if they're just sitting in a basket, again, waiting to be rummaged through. People like to see things displayed nicely. If you just go to that little bit of extra effort of getting a clothes rack, I promise you, you will sell more clothes than if you just have everything just sitting in a bin. If you don't have a clothes rack or you don't want to spend the money on a clothes rack, you can do something really simple. If you have a carport, for example, you can hang up 2 garden hooks off your carport, and then you can hang a rod across the middle of it, and then you can hang your clothes up that way. But I would really suggest picking up a cheap clothes rack. I picked mine up for $10 off Marketplace, and I actually think it's really cute, and I'm gonna take it with me to the next place that we move into as well. But it was only $10, and all the clothes look so much better on there than if I was just to leave them in baskets. And it really just makes it so much more visually appealing for people, and you're a lot more likely to sell your items. So tip number 12 is get creative with what you sell. You're not just limited to the stuff that's lying around your house or in your drawers or in your cupboards or in your wardrobe. You can also sell things like plant cuttings. If you're doing a little bit of a prune of your plants, you can always sell those cuttings. I've actually pruned my devil's ivy, and I have put a few of the stems in some water. And so in 2 weeks when I'm ready to have my garage sale, I'm hoping they'll have a little bit of roots, and I might even consider putting them in a little bit of dirt and sell them as actual plants. I'm also going to be selling some of the pottery that I've made over the last couple of years. I've made a lot of pottery over the last couple of years, and I definitely don't need to keep all of it. So I'm just going to try to sell it. If nobody wants to buy it, that's fine, but I figure there might be somebody out there who might be interested in these kinds of things, and it doesn't hurt to put it out there. Just because you don't think it's something worth buying doesn't mean that somebody else won't think it's something worth buying. So that brings me to my next tip, which is going to be get creative with how you display your items. I mentioned before that you can get a clothing rack to display your clothes nicely. I was trying to come up with a creative way of displaying my earrings. Not even creative, I was just trying to think of a way to display my earrings because I don't really wear earrings. And so I just found an embroidery hoop and some embroidery cloth, and I put it inside, and I just poked all the little earrings through so that you can have a nice display of all of the earrings. Something else I'll be doing on the day as well is I'll just be displaying all of the necklaces on like this deer head ornament with antlers. So I'm just going to be using that on the day to be displaying all of the necklaces and bracelets that I have for sale. I just thought it would be a kind of cute boutique way to display it rather than just putting it in Ziploc bags or throwing it on a table. Just trying to make everything look a little bit more presentable, look a little bit boutique, so that people kind of attracted to my store, attracted to my garage sale when they walk past, and they kind of think, oh, that's kind of cute, that's kind of funky. So I'm really trying to focus on having everything presented really nicely and hope that that will get me a little bit more money in my garage sale. Tip number 14 is to prepare your signs in advance. So when I say this, I kind of mean 2 different things. The first one is you're going to be wanting to make signs to advertise your garage sale. You want to be putting these up about 5 to 7 days in advance so that people know that you're going to be having a garage sale and that they can kind of put it in their schedule if they're planning on coming to your garage sale on the day. The other thing is to make signs with arrows that point from the main road all the way through to your house. So you want to prepare these in advance so that on the day of your garage sale, you're not rushed, you're not stressed. All you need to do is get your pre-made signs and go down to the signposts on the way to your house and just stick them up, and so all the arrows are pointing to your house. So if you pre-prepare the signs, it means that you can just stick them up on the day and that you don't have to worry about making them. On the day, you want to be giving yourself as much time as possible without having to do any of this extra sort of stuff. Tip number 15 is have batteries and have an extension cord. If you're selling electronic items, people are likely going to want to test these items. Make sure you have a range of different batteries depending on the things that you're selling. If you're selling something that's got big double D batteries, if that's what they're called, or triple C's, are they triple C's? I don't know. Big batteries, little batteries, in between size batteries, and make sure that you have an extension cord so that people can try out electronic items just to make sure that they're working. Well guys, that's it. That's the end of part 1 of this video on how to prepare for your garage sale, and I will see you back here next week, and I'll be sure to let you know just how much money I made and just how everything went on the day. And I'll be sure to give you all of the tips and tricks on things that you can do on garage sale day to make sure you have a really bang up cracker of a garage sale. I just want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!